And welcome back. We are delighted to have with us again Chef Clark Barlow
Good to
from
be back.
Heirloom Restaurant, which has been voted best restaurant in Charlotte. It's won so many awards, so many accolades because it is truly a wonderful restaurant. And part of that is because it's local. You use local products, Clark, and I know people appreciate that, but it's also so good and fresh.
Exactly. I mean, that's the biggest thing for us is the quality of the products. We want to give the best quality products to our customers. And we say every dollar that's spent at Heirloom Restaurant stays in the state of North Carolina because we support over 72 local businesses there.
And Clark's going to be doing something here with something that a lot of people may not get as much of as they should, and that is North Carolina oysters. And tell us what we're doing here, Clark.
So we're just going to fresh shuck some North Carolina oysters. North Carolina oysters are some of my favorite oysters. I worked for a big restaurant group up in Washington, D.C. for a few years, and every year at this time of the year we do an oyster riot where we bring in every edible variety of oyster into the nation's capital and fresh shuck them right there.
And you're doing a good job shucking them because I've seen people stabbing themselves shucking oysters before and doing all sorts of things with that knife there that they shouldn't be doing.
If I stab myself, we're going to cut to Al much earlier.
We'll go earlier to Al. But the thing is, you know, North Carolina oysters, you're saying these have, say, a sweeter taste because they're not, I think of oysters either as like cold water or warm water oysters, but these can sort of hit a range between that, can't they?
Exactly. These come from Harker's Island, down around the coast of North Carolina. And they're really nice sweet oyster, very similar to your Prince Edward Island, your sweeter oysters up north. And then we're just going to garnish them really simply with some Texas peach.
Okay, now first of all, what have you put down here below them?
It's just a little bit of salt to hold them in place.
All right.
And then that keeps them from sliding around all over the plate.
Ah, that's good.
And then this is Texas peach caviar. So we use a technique that I learned at a restaurant in Spain. And basically we spherify the caviar. We spherify the Texas peach. We turn it into caviar or pearls.
Wow.
So it's just Texas peach, but it's being held together with some algin and a few other basic little chemicals.
Now, we all know that there are some people who do not look kindly upon oysters, but if you've never tried them, you really should because there's a wonderful flavor to them. There really is. And you say these are a sweeter variety of oysters here. And then when you put some of this garnish on them here, now a lot of people like horseradish with them, which I do, and I like Texas Pete on mine. You put a hot sauce on it. But this is a little bit different, and I like this. And of course, presentation is 99% of it, isn't it? I hope we've gotten a closer. I mean, this just really looks Christmassy because it's got the green, it's got the red, and it's got the oyster too.
It's a play on a classic. Like, we always want Texas Pete with our oysters. We were raised in the South. That's something we go with. So we just took it a little new twist on it.
And the good thing you were telling me, because I always think of seasons of oysters, but you can get North Carolina oysters year-round?
Very close to year-round. Harker's Island is a farm-raised oyster here in North Carolina, and all the hurricanes that have hit it over the years have built these little natural inlets into the island. So perfect place to farm raise oysters.
Well, I'm going to have to sample one of these, of course. And I love oysters. I can't tell you how much. But while I do that, Clark, thank you so much. Heirloom Restaurant. By the way, we found out we're related. His mother and I were in a history class together at Appalachian. So
go figure, right?
Go figure. Clark, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And now let's go over to Al Conklin. He's probably eating an oyster or two.